everyone to RedRaiders.com. I'm Shannon Wilson, and this is Zach Long. And Zach, it's about that time again for Texas Tech football.
Yeah, it's been really fast this summer, hasn't it? You know, it seems like we just got back from the College World Series covering Tech baseball, and then look up and it was Big 12 Media Days, and now two-a-days beginning for Texas Tech here in just a couple days, and a lot of excitement around this football season. I mean, my goodness, they've sold out season tickets, which was a sign that they were pretty fired up. They've got a heck of a home schedule, a lot of reasons to be optimistic, of course, during year 2 of Cliff Kingsbury's tenure.
Yeah, so what are 3 big storylines that we should be looking at this season?
You know, going into fall camp, there's a lot of storylines. We'll try to whittle it down to 3, and I hate to be cliche and start with this, but I'm going to the quarterback situation with Davis Webb. He's not really the big concern there. By all accounts, he has had a fantastic summer. He is a much bigger kid. He had a good spring, which a lot of you got to see during some of the open practices and the scrimmages, and I think he's primed to have a really good year. But, and I hate to even bring this up, if something should happen to Davis Webb, the depth behind him is a big concern. You've got Patrick Mahomes, a true freshman, highly touted recruit, but like I said, a true freshman. And of course, Tech fans are now well versed in seeing how a true freshman can be great and not so great when things go wrong. So in a perfect situation, you would not have to use Patrick Mahomes this year and keep Davis Webb healthy. So I think that's one of the big storylines for me during fall practice is keep Davis Webb healthy, and we'll see some of the other kids down the line in a couple years.
Now, on the Texas Tech defense, we have a lot of newcomers. What should we expect?
You know, that right there I think is one of the big concerns. I think the media's keyed in on that, and I think the coaches are a little bit too, is they lost a lot on that defense, so I think that's the reason for concern right there. You talk about the Kerry Hyders and the Will Smiths, the cornerback over there, Bruce Jones. Those were big contributors on that defense that struggled during the central part of the year during that 5-game losing streak. So you got to fill some gaps there. You're going to have some transfers step up. That's the key thing for me. You look at people like Rika Levi, a massive defensive lineman in the middle. That's someone you need to step up. VJ Fehoko, of course, very well versed in Texas Tech. His family is, you know, really into the college, and of course he's got a little brother that's already been committed here. And I say the word little carefully because he's a huge human being, but VJ is someone who will step in at the linebacker position and help them out a lot. And the cornerbacks, that right there is the key for me. They have to have people step up there. We saw Justice Nelson, the freshman, have a really good year late in the year, had a nice play in the Holiday Bowl with an interception. Those are the type of people that are going to have to step up, because I think the key for Texas Tech this year is going to be how quickly that defense acclimates and backs up some of that offensive performance.
Now, on a more positive note, what about those wide receivers?
You know, that is absolutely right. That is a massive positive note, I think, right there. Cliff Kingsbury and his staff had a lot of weapons to work with, and that's saying something because, of course, they lose Jason Morrow and Eric Ward and others, but I think possibly they may have a more talented group in there this year. You got Jakeem Grant, who everyone knows about now. He's going to be pegged on, and they're going to have a lot of new offensive wrinkles to get that kid into the open field, because that's when he embarrasses people and does the things that Jakeem Grant does. But on the other side, I think that's where my most intrigue is setting right now. You talk about Devin Lauderdale and DJ Polite-Bray possibly competing for the other outside receiver slot. Those are 2 kids with elite level speed, and of course Devin Lauderdale, a highly touted recruit, had to go the junior college route for 1 year. He stayed committed to Texas Tech, and that's someone I think the coaching staff and fans are going to really know quite a lot about a couple weeks into fall practice, because he's one of those kids that can really explode, and it's going to be fun to sit there probably in the offensive meeting rooms for those coaches and come up with plays for all these kids, because there's a lot of depth there. Because you also got Reginald Davis, another kid who had a great year last year, was a freshman. Dylan Crantrell, a lot of options for Texas Tech. I think Davis Webb is going to have a fun year chucking the ball around.
Yes, and we have a lot more coverage coming, right, Zach?
Absolutely. We're just kind of getting into it here. Of course, Sunday coming up over at Texas Tech, we have the annual local media day. We're going to get to visit with Cliff Kingsbury and, of course, all the players, and we'll have all kinds of good stuff there. And then practice gets going on Monday. We'll be out there, all that, and before we know it, it's going to be time for that season opener against Central Arkansas.
Of course, keep tuned in to RedRaiders.com and LubbockOnline.com for all your Texas Tech football coverage. But for now, we bid you farewell. For Zach Long, I'm Shannon Wilson, and this is RedRaiders.com.